In the world of the Green Lanterns, one of the Guardians has died. Over in Suicide Squad, we don't understand why Connor Kent Superboy is a member. And over in the Crime Syndicate, we last left off with them fighting Starros. All of those today, right here at Comicstorian, where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues, and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panel, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Today we're going to be covering Green Lanterns 2, where we pick up where we left off with the peace treaty that was going on, Crime Syndicate number 3, where they're battling against the Starros, and Suicide Squad number 3, where we discover what's going on with Connor. I'll explain a little bit more backstory before each issue, but thank you for checking in with our weekend compilation videos, where you get multiple issues of your favorite comics from last week right here at Comicstorian. Let's get into it. Green Lantern issue 2. When we last left off, all of the Lanterns were called back to Oa to usher in a new peace treaty with the United Planets. But when there turned out to be a rebellion battling against them, it falls on John Stewart to deliver the news to the Corps that there is a traitor loose within their ranks. While being accepted into the collective of the United Planets, there was a terrorist attack, and it resulted in the loss of several Lanterns. Though the ones that were responsible were captured, there was a second strike, a magical dragon set loose on the Conclave. It too was handled, but during all of this, they lost a Guardian. As they gather at the central battery on Oa, the sister of Kaios speaks with everyone that they as Guardians do not experience death as many of them do. However, in the rare case that they find themselves in these situations, they have their rituals to fall back on. Because Kaios only ever sought evolution and beauty for this universe, they have chosen one of their oldest. The production of the reaction that they call life is dissolution. Death, the end of one state, is only the start of another. So they consign her brother's inert matter to the battery's core, whose energies flow through all of their works. Death appears to be the triumph of entropy. This is a lie. Nothing is ever created or destroyed, only translated and later recombined. The universe oscillates. The multiverse branches. The omniverse endures. Linear time is an illusion. Death is only a door. Her name is Mnemosyne. She is a Guardian, and she will see her brother again. Now, as you all know, despite the efforts of the terrorists, Oa has been accepted into the United Planets. Many member worlds are uneasy with the scope and power of the Corps. We as Guardians understand these concerns. We are powerful. Our reach is wide. To stand equally with the other worlds of this union, we must give up some of that power, scale back much of that scope. To that end, 1,200 sectors will be vacated. Their jurisdiction will be ceded over to the United Planets Brigade. All previous Corps hierarchies will be erased, replaced with new mission objectives and designations. All Green Lanterns without sectors will be reassigned. As murmurs begin to spread throughout the Corps, one says that they were not informed of these decisions. As senior administration, they need time to roll out all of these changes. Mnemosyne says that it would seem that she was unclear. There is no schedule needed. The change begins now. Quiet whispers become confused panic as all of the Lanterns in attendance that were affected start to hear their rings begin to give them new directives as their sectors are now non-existent. While this is happening, Mnemosyne goes on stating that their modified duty parameters will download to their rings. 2,400 sectors now remain. There is no more Honor Guard, no more Torchbearer, no more Clerici, no more Illustres. We are one Corps, no greater than any other, none lesser. While tempers begin to flare, Hal Jordan tells John that the Guardians knew how this was going to go over. Hal says that he can come up but John tells him, no, I'm going to handle this. As the Corps heads out to their new positions, John leaves with the Guardians, telling them that they know that they could have handled that better, right? Instead, they just drop something like that without planning. The Guardians state that their decision is complete and final. How would delaying it have served them? John argues that many of these people had lives. Some of them had to abandon their entire society to serve the Corps. The Guardians tell him that being a Green Lantern is voluntary. One may step away at any time, without disgrace or recrimination. As of now, their focus will be centered on the Crux worlds. John asks what's so important about these worlds all of a sudden, and the Guardians ask, have you ever wondered why in all of the planets, in all of the galaxy, only yours has produced 7 Green Lanterns in the span of a single human lifetime? Every universe has 7 of these worlds. Planets where wonders happen to spur growth and evolution and preserve the life of the cosmos. Earth is the crux of heroes. When the current pantheon of new gods fades away, Earth will become the so-called fifth world. John looks up at the project, stating that he only sees 5. Where are the other 2? And the Guardians state that the other 2 were lost. They failed to prevent the destruction of Krypton. The other is his failure. You remember Zhang-Chi, of course. John's face sinks as they go on telling him that this is why he sees things as they do. He knows what failure means and grief. Earth has generated the necessary heroes to protect the remaining worlds. Your fellow Lanterns are those protectors. As for you, your duty lies elsewhere, the dark sector, regions between known space and the Promethean galaxies into which we cannot see. There is something preventing us from seeing these sectors. We wish for you to investigate John Stewart. John says that is a lot of territory for one Green Lantern to cover alone. And the Guardian interrupts him. You will not be alone. Together, the Lanterns will band together and create a vessel to navigate the barrier and house the thousands of Lanterns who will accompany you on this quest. 1,001, should you accept. John laughs, stating that they already knew his answer before they called the conclave to Oa. Yeah, he's in. Soon the Lanterns begin to depart from Oa, but once the bulk of them are off-world, there is a rumble within Mogo. At that moment, the central battery explodes, obliterating everything in its blast. Elsewhere, a robed figure watches the destruction, stating, "Yes, die quickly. This is mercy, though you won't know it yet." Later, after the destruction, a lone lantern flies towards the planet as their ring reads off that there are Thanagarian and Kaluuyan platform vessels in stationary orbit. Hail? The lantern tells the ring not yet. Get a hold of the Guardians, but the ring states that the scan is complete. Signal traffic, none. Guardian responds to the hails, none. The Lantern says to search for others. The Guardians recalled all available. Everyone's supposed to be here. The Lantern then flies over the ruins and the ring states that it is searching. Green Lanterns within the scanning range 0. Multiple critically injured scientists within range. Multiple variant species. Anomalous energy signature detected. Possible life forms detected within. As the Lantern sees the green energy, they ask, "I thought you said that there are no Lanterns here," and the ring repeats that there are no Green Lanterns within this range. As the Lantern gets closer, they hear someone talking within the bubble, speaking in Spanish. Lantern Joe watches as the barrier fades and a young Kelly cries, holding Simon, I tried! And that is one heck of a cliffhanger because we just lost a lot of Lanterns. Let's move on to Suicide Squad issue number 3. When we last left off, Peacemaker was leading the new team, and Superboy was being forced to join, but no one really knows why or how. As images of Connor Kent are shown, Nocturna says that she knows all of this, and Waller says to tell them what he told her when he was under her spell. Nocturna sighs, stating that after Superman died, a bunch of idiots decided he needed to be replaced. Superboy was created in a lab, the fusion of Superman and Lex Luthor's DNA. How does knowing that not mess with his head? He joined the Young Justice, then he joined the Teen Titans, and now this useless Boy Scout is somehow on the damn Suicide Squad. Only part he didn't say was how he ended up with the bad guys. Waller says that that is classified information. Bottom line it. You used your glamour on him and got him talking. Does he have an issue with Peacemaker or anyone else on the squad? Is he cleared for duty? Nocturna tells Waller, first off, everyone hates Peacemaker. Second, Superboy is fine. Cleared to screw things up for us again. Waller turns to leave, telling her that her yard time is over. Get back inside. She'll see in time that Connor is meant to lead the Suicide Squad, so listen to him or say goodbye to that pretty little head. Celebra works on her arm as Nocturna walks in asking if she put that whammy on Superboy earlier in the mess hall, or was that just their fanfic? Nocturna sighs louder, stating that she really needs to get out of this hellhole, and a voice tells her that there's no getting out. As she looks up, she asks where the hell did, and Peacemaker enters, telling her, I could at least make it better though. Laundry room, 30 minutes. For the record, everyone likes me. Celebra heads into the control room, asking Waller if she wanted to see her, and Waller tells her yes, come in. Once the two of them are alone, Waller says that she did well for her first mission. And Celebra asks, does that mean that she can leave the squad? Waller stares at her. I'll take your hard glare as a firm maybe, Waller. Waller then says that she needs her to keep an eye on someone for the next mission. It's someone who still needs to learn how to play well with others. As the door opens, Talon is inside screaming, who? perched on 2 dead bodies. Celebra says that she doesn't really want to tell them how to do their job, but maybe just pull the trigger on this dude's neck bomb now and save everyone the nightmares. I'll even clean up the goo. Waller tells her no. They need him to remember. Until that happens, it's her job to keep him alive and from killing any more squad members. If she fails in that, then, well, there won't be anything left of her to clean up. As Waller walks off, Celebra looks inside the Talon's cell, stating that she is different once you get to know her. She's much worse, actually. And the Talon looks back at her. Who? Celebra asks if this is by any chance just an elaborate knock-knock joke. Elsewhere, Nocturna steps into the laundry room, making a disgusting face, asking if she needs to call HR when she sees Peacemaker without his shirt. He begins to put it on, telling her, "Don't be ridiculous. I was adjusting the frequency of the washing and drying units. Waller can't hear us while they're running, but she can see us. I heard what you told Waller about Superboy. Now tell me what you didn't tell Waller." Nocturna says that that's the way her glamour works. She gets a vibe from her targets. With Superboy, it's like he's not all there. There's something missing. When she got him talking about his past, it was like he was reading a Wikipedia entry. Peacemaker says that he doesn't really care. Bottom line it for me. Turner says that there's something wrong with Superboy mentally. Peacemaker begins to think, stating that Superboy is just a symptom of something much worse. Our problem is Waller. She's lying to us. At that moment, Celebra pokes her head in, stating that Boss Lady wants the day players in the Situation Room. She wants Peacemaker in the office. Peacemaker corrects her, but Celebra says blah blah blah, tell someone who actually cares. Later, Peacemaker walks into Waller's office asking, "Our objective is a kid?" Waller says, "Are you getting soft on me?" Peacemaker asks, "What's so special about this one opposed to the others?" And Waller tells him that this kid is one of the fastest metahumans on the planet. The target is a Speed Force wannabe calling herself Bolt. Once everyone is rounded up, Waller explains that Bolt has bursts of speed, but cannot run continuously like the Flash. That is what they're going to use to their advantage. They made a deal and she was pulled out of Australia. Tonight she will join the team or die. Titan's tower is protected and restricted, so they need to get Bolt out in the open. Fortunately, her and her fellow students have a standing movie night, and every movie night, Bolt likes to go for a run afterwards. We have a shot at this. If she makes it back to the tower, then that's a problem for all of us that will be permanent. Waller then looks at Celebra, stating that her job is what comes next. It's simple enough for even her to understand, and that is to make some noise and get Bolt's attention. After that, Keymaster will use his portals to bring everyone into the alleyway, where Boltmaster will run through a magical door and end right up in a prison cell. Peacemaker looks at Keymaster, asking, "You're the new teleporter, huh? Have you seen Spinal Tap?" Keymaster says no and asks why, and Peacemaker says, "Oh, no reason. And this is Branch?" The plant-like man says that he shouldn't even be here. He's not a criminal. He's just an experiment and he can hear plants, and Waller tells him that he'll do fine. All he has to do is create a tripwire that even Bolt won't see. Got it? Peacemaker asks what is the plan. They're going to trip Bolt? What if she spots the wire? Who's going to stop her if she runs? And that's when they all hear the other voice. Me. Peacemaker looks up asking Superboy, "Do you have a problem with me?" And Superboy tells him, "Screw around and find out, Tin Can Man." Celebra leans in, whispering to Branch, "Is it me, or is this kind of hot?" Branch says, "Please just let me out of here." Keymaster opens up his portal, telling them, "All right, losers, let's go." So a short while later, Celebra returns to the alleyway, stating, "Okay, bait is set." Branch asks if they can't just run now. "Hey, Key Dude, maybe, one of your doors could get us all out of Waller's range?" Keymaster laughs. "Haha, that's a good idea. Too bad I've only got room for one." He opens up a portal and Peacemaker yells for him not to do it. If he runs, Waller will. But before he can even open up the portal, his bomb explodes as Bolt comes around the corner asking what happened. She looks back, letting out a sigh of relief. "Oh, it's you. I'm so glad to see you." And Superboy tells her, "Run." Bolt asks what is he talking about, and while distracted, Talon slashes Bolt's arm. Celebra then yells, "I had one job! Come here, you little!" Peacemaker jumps down, telling her, "All right, plan B." But as Bolt begins to dodge everyone, she says to tell Waller that her answer is still no. Everyone regroups with Peacemaker telling everyone, "Okay, now it's time for plan C. We storm Titan's Academy and..." But Superboy says that Waller said the Academy is off limits. Nocturna then radios in that, yeah, Bolt is back safe and sound in the tower. It was nice knowing everyone. Peacemaker punches Branch. "I'm just gonna take you out before Waller has a chance to, you little..." But Superboy yells for him to stop. Peacemaker asks, "You wanna lead things? You have to show discipline." And a voice then asks, if you want to lead, then you need to think not 1, not 2, but 3 steps ahead. A mysterious figure dodges all of Peacemaker's attacks, then kicks him in the stomach, and then stops. If the circus clowns want to break into Titan's Academy, tell their ringleader she'll need to listen to Red X. That's right, we've now got Red X joining the Suicide Squad. That brings us to our third and final story of the day, Crime Syndicate, Issue 3. When we last left off at the Crime Syndicate, they were just starting to get to know each other, but that's when they discovered their world was about to be invaded by Starro. So today's story kicks it off with Superwoman. She has lived for thousands of years, waged war from Babylon to Olympus, Mons and beyond. The sands of time whisper her name, the Superwoman. Nothing, no man, no beast has ever stood in her way, but this foe is different. The Starro Collective fights not just with body, but also with mind. After countless battles with their enemies from across a cosmic ocean, they now crash upon the shores of Earth 3. The Emerald Knights, the private police force of the ancient overlords of Oa, have never vanquished the Starro beasts. The Starros once fought the Knights, including Earth's Herald Jordan, to a last stand. Casualties were at an all-time high on both sides, yet still the Starros live on. But Superwoman is not an Owen. She is not one of their weak-willed Emerald Knights. She is powerful in body and mind. These Starros have never truly met their match until now. She is Donna Troy, and she has no equal. Even now, in Arnold, DC, the Starros prove to be a match even against Earth's mightiest heroes. Ultraman tells Johnny Quick to gather them up so that he can use his Ultra Vision. But Johnny sucks up all the Starros in his speed whirlwind, then rips them apart, telling him no need. Plus, this is so much more fun! Owlman tells Superwoman that the Knight killed a big Starro, but she was not the Queen. They need to take the fight to the Starro Queen. So a few seconds later, over Metropolis, Ultraman flies by the Queen stating, I could have told you the Queen's in my home turf. Not sure why everyone is listening to Bird Boy over there. Owlman ignores the remark, telling Superwoman that the Emerald Knight's ring can't break the Queen's hide. However, be sure to protect him because the Emerald Knight is still their best weapon. The Emerald Knight's ring asks, did you hear that? They think that you're of use? Show us what you know! Owlman tells Johnny to keep the ground clear and get Atomica as close to the Queen's maw as possible. After that, it's Atomica's turn to fly. As Atomica rockets off Johnny and into the Queen's mouth, she shrinks down and slips into the bloodstream of the Starro. Owlman tells her to just let the blood carry her to where she needs to go. But just as a heads up, people, looks like Metropolis decided to get into the fight. Alexander Luthor is the tip of the spear. Alexander flies up yelling to everyone that they may not have superpowers, but they have their hands and their hearts. Evacuate Metropolis, leave no stone unturned. Ultraman, if you can hold this thing off, we can get everyone out. As Alexander flies up, Ultraman grabs him by the leg. If you want help, you should just go kill the thing yourself. Ultraman throws Alexander at the Queen, and as Alexander slams into the hard flesh, he declares, I hate that man. A few moments now go by with the Queen beginning to scream in pain, and Owlman says that that's their signal. Ultraman, go be Ultra. Ultraman screams as he flies in straight through the Queen, yelling, it's always up to me to do the heavy lifting, isn't it? Freaking freeloaders! Owlman tells the Emerald Knight that it's his turn now. Get in there and light up Starro. As the Knight flies in, the flesh begins to knit back, and he says that the wound is closing already. That thing is unbeatable. The Knight's ring yells to just shut up and fly in there. Watch as we save the world. While the Emerald Knight's ring begins to release all of its power inside of the Queen, the Knight radios back that the hole is completely healing over. I'm trapped inside. Just then, one of the Queen's tentacles stabs through, stabbing Emerald Knight, throwing him out, yelling, get out of me! The Queen begins to yell in everyone's head, bringing out their worst fears, but on the ground, Alexander asks, what is happening to the metahumans? Owlman says that he can't be sure, but the psychic attack seems to be focused on them, which means that there might be a chance while the Queen is distracted. But Superwoman, she fights through it. While the Starros begin to exploit everyone's emotions, it seems to have misunderstood something. Superwoman doesn't have emotions that can harm her. She begins to fly around using her barbed lasso to tie up the Queen's legs and then lands right in the middle of one of their eyes. As she pulls on the lasso, the Queen tells her to stop hurting us. We are the last hope to free the Starros from the overlords of Oa. Came for your help. Sought refuge from Owen murderers. Superwoman pulls tighter, stating, "You tried to enslave everyone. Now you want mercy? I have none to give." Soon the giant queen falls out of the sky, crashing down onto the city. But what's more, it's all of the stars around the world that begin to die off. A few moments later, Atomica rips her way out of the queen, telling them that they all freaking owe her. Ultraman tells Superwoman that she's welcome. He punched a hole in it, and all she did was ride it down into the grave. Superwoman turns to him. "Right. Keep telling yourself that, Ultraman." The Emerald Knight sees Owlman walking with a power battery, stating, "We really need to talk about how you got that." And Owlman tells him, "No, we really don't." Alexander runs up, stating that they could have waited. They could have saved so many more people. With all their powers working together, they could have saved every last soul in Metropolis. Even with Ultra Vision, can't you see? This is your home too. Don't you care, Ultraman? Ultraman flexes and smiles. "Of course I do. That's why I saved it." And now to close out today's DC Friday episode, we're going to go to the Superwoman side story that is in the back half of Crime Syndicate 3, revealing even more of her origins. Growing up in Demon's Island, Donna was raised on a mystical island of warrior women. As the queen's daughter, she was given the toughest training. Her mentors were harder on her than anyone else. They pushed her to anticipate strategy. No woman could beat her in hand-to-hand combat. She had embraced their code, fearless, relentless, merciless. But when a man found his way to their home for the first time, she didn't know what to expect. His name was Steve, and he told Donna that she was their last hope. Steve was small, soft, and Donna was drawn to him, and she cared for him. She would have done almost anything to stay with him except leave her home and go to his. Steve would talk of a war that his people were losing and that they needed her help. They needed warriors like her, and if she doesn't help, maybe there are others who will. As Steve held the knife to Donna's throat, he walked her right to Queen Hippolyta, stating that he needs 10 of their soldiers or he'll kill. Hippolyta looks at Steve and tells him to kill her. Steve says, "What?" And Hippolyta says that she thought Donna was stronger, not soft like Diana, save yourself. Donna breaks free from her hold, taking the knife that Steve held to her neck, burying it deep in his stomach. As Steve falls back, Hippolyta asks, "Did you learn anything today?" And Donna asks that he beat her? Not with weapons, but with words and emotions. She didn't see his strategy. Hippolyta tells her that that is her final lesson. Battle takes many forms, but now she has taken these weapons. They are her tools. Does she see now? Steve tries to sit up asking for help, but Donna steps on his throat. She sees now. Powerful beings were emerging from man's world. A new age of demigods was coming. She would infiltrate, rise to a position of power, find others like her, forge them into weapons, and one day she'll return to Demon's Island with her army, and she will kill her mother and take the throne. And then maybe Hippolyta will finally be proud of her. And there you have it, 3 more stories right here at the Comicstorian channel. Every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we bring you a compilation of comic books that came out the week before. So this week we did Green Lanterns issue 2, Crime Syndicate 3, and Suicide Squad 3. For those who still like our classic 30-minute complete stories or still want the full stories, fear not, they are still coming out. And what's going to happen is we'll end up getting like 10, 12 issues deep on these weekend episodes, and then we'll just turn them into a full story, and you're getting the stories faster if you really just want them ASAP. Either way, guys, thank you so much for your continued support, and please check out our Patreon where you can vote on the next stories coming to the channel. We're currently voting on what Loki story we should cover on Comicstorian. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you next time right here at Comicstorian.